Well, good morning. I think
Good
we are live,
morning.
and I don't think anybody else is on right now, which is always fun to watch the playbacks. So this is Tanya with Back2Basics, and this month's Coffee Talk is with my dear friend, Whitney Emanuel. Whitney, how long have we known each other? 5, 6 years now?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
So Whitney, I met at a networking event in St. Paul. I think it was 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, she was under a different umbrella, but she has since gone out on her own under the brand name Strategic Visionaries. And Whitney is an amazing, I can't wait for you guys to really dig in and meet her and just her personally. But this is why I love her. So first of all, she's a woman of God. Secondly, she is an amazing businesswoman. Thirdly, she is a huge advocate for women in business. And fourth, she's an amazing mom. Did I say that? She is. She's an amazing mom. And she's just full of spirit and energy. And anytime I feel like I need to be uplifted, I know Whitney's in the background. I just love her. I adore you. So we get to get personal with Whitney today.
Oh, don't make me cry today. Fortunately, like we talked about, I'm not wearing mascara on my dye, so if I cry.
Right? Okay, so men don't have to worry about stuff like that. But this is awesome. You were saying, she was telling me before, I'm talking like there's a whole crowd behind me. She was telling me before we went live, a friend of hers, I don't know what it's called again. What is she called? What is her title? She's
an esthetician.
Esthetician. Okay, that's a new word for me today. But she dyed Whitney's eyelashes. I've never even heard of that. I've heard of fake eyelashes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I've heard of tattooed eyebrows. Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to look into that. See the struggles of the blondes.
Yep. True story.
We have no pigment anywhere. Oh, okay. So, Whitney, I wanted to talk a little bit today. We chatted yesterday about what was going on in Whit's life, and she actually took this whole week off from work, which is great. It's one of those benefits that we adore about being self-employed, our own business, that freedom to come and go. But why you took this week off was even more impressive to me, and it just kind of reiterates everything I tell people about you and your giving spirit. So I just wanted you to let people know why you took this week off. It wasn't for your own personal pampering time.
No, it wasn't. Although I feel like I get pampered every time I like give love and purpose to somebody else. You know, it's the most fulfilling thing that I think anybody could do. But yeah, it's for an event. Excuse me, I told Tanya before we got on, I had a little bit of a cold. So I have a sensitive. So it's called Love Twin Cities. It's with a ministry. It's not a church. It's not an actual church organization. It's a Christian organization that puts this on. It's called Love Twin Cities, like I had mentioned. And so what happens is that there are worship and prayer services from 8 a.m. to midnight every single day. And so you could just go in and soak or whatever you feel to get just peace and just soak it in. But then also it's sending out people throughout the Twin Cities on various outreaches, whether it's just being out and loving on people, sharing Jesus with people, giving food away, water. We have like these little bags, homeless, like from Good in the Hood, like socks, toothbrush, things that they just don't have. We've done a couple of meals actually in the parking lot of the building we're using. And so like on Saturday, there's going to be one where, and anyone's welcome to come. So if you want to come, you're welcome. Everything's being held at City View Church in South Minneapolis, but that's not the church doing it. They're just letting us use the building. And so tomorrow they're going to do like meal again, foot washings of people, baptisms, and just like, you know, letting people just come and be. You don't have to do anything. to be there. So the whole thing, and Tanya, you and I were talking about this yesterday, that I think people are tired, and your son as well is tired of institutional church, because it's so structured, and a lot of it is man-made. None of it is, a lot of it, I'm not going to say none of it, but a lot of it is not what God intended for us to experience Him. And so we create things hoping that it'll draw people in, but really all we need is the love of Jesus. And so we're bringing that to people rather than expecting them to come to a church service to get it. And so their tagline is, "The church has left the building," which I'm really into, because I'm all about being the hands and feet of Jesus rather than expecting people to come to me. Like, we talked with this guy for, go ahead. What was that?
Oh my God, I love you so much. All right. So I don't think we ever get through a conversation.
Too.
Oh.
True story. I know you do cry every time.
True. Every time we talk, it's like, what is happening right now? Oh, I think that's great. So tell us how we get involved in that again.
Yeah. So if you are interested in the week, it ends tomorrow, but there's still time. Like, if you just wanted to come and check it out, if you just wanted to come to a worship and prayer time, it's not like a Sunday service. So, like, if you don't like Sunday services, but you still want to experience God, then this is a great place to do that. So the website is called Love Twin Cities 247. And so if you just wanted to look at the website for this specific week, you can. You can always direct message me as well. I'd love to talk to you about it. If you've been hurt by the church, I would love to talk to you, because I just feel like there's a lot of judgment that precedes love. I think we need truth and love. I'm not saying that we just say, hey, everything's okay, because we know that's enabling. But at the same time, we need to walk alongside people and support them, rather than just saying, you're wrong, and then leave them there, because that's called condemnation, which is not why Jesus came into the world. Jesus said, I came into the world to save the world, not to judge the world. And so, so that's the story of this week, and I'm really into it.
Yes, you are. And you know what? That you take that mission of inclusiveness and love and just justice for your fellow man, and you apply it to all aspects of your life, which is amazing. Whitney doesn't just talk the talk, she walks it, and she constantly pulls me back in line because I'm very easily swayed off the line when I get frustrated. So and there goes my phone. Sorry, guys. So if you ever need somebody to just uplift you, she's an amazing resource. But I want you to talk about how you take that same mindset and you apply it to business, because in financial planning, it's really easy to get in a very not only structured, but kind of money hungry mindset and lose sight of what's important on the other end, or who you're serving on the other end. So tell everyone how you kind of tackle that industry a little bit differently.
Yeah. So one thing that I really prayed about is not to compartmentalize my life, right? So I am the same person out on the streets that I am in the business, right? So that's really important, and I've actually talked to God about that a lot, to really increase my heart everywhere I am. And so there's that. Something that I do with my clients is, number one, before I get into that, I'm not a hungry or a money-driven person. Money is a tool, and I always tell people that you need money to do things that are important to you, to support your family, but that's not the end all. It's just a means to the end. So I say that a lot, especially when you're doing public speaking, presentations. It's not about money. It's about what money can do for you. So there's that. Because money is not evil. It's the love of money that is. And so I don't really attract people who are really money driven, but they recognize that they don't have to plan and they need one, or maybe they don't have a plan to manage their portfolio and they need it. So it's like a necessity for their lives in order to achieve success and joy and freedom. So bringing joy to money is really important to me as well, and taking away shame. So I talk through that with clients a lot because there's a lot of shame associated with money, whether it's past behavior or maybe like I have a client who inherited money, but they feel shame that they've never known how to handle it. And so then they use me as a resource so that they can get educated and also do the right thing. But with every single client, I do a values exercise so that, and that's the first thing that I do, even if they don't become a client, just initially meeting, I have them complete this values exercise to identify their top 5 values. So common values, maybe family. I'll tell you what mine are. There's family, faith, decisiveness. I think making decisions is very important. Instead of just saddling, I believe this in all areas of life. But with your money behavior, it's important to bring that to my clients and say, hey, you have to make a decision. What is it? Indecision is a decision. It's going to end up somewhere, right? Health is really important to me. That's a core value that some people will identify. I think service is another one. That's, I'm serving my clients, but I do that in all areas of my life. I want to make sure I'm aligned that there is joy. So those are like my core values, but people will have different ones. So then the goal is that then they tell me about their goals, they tell me about their values, and we want to make sure that your money behavior is in alignment with that. Oftentimes it's not. Like, let's say achievement is a top goal. Well, what if you've got like 5 401ks and you don't have your estate plan in place? Well, then achievement in your money picture is pretty low. And it's just like about having honest conversations about why is that, and then how can we bridge the gap between what needs to be done, what you're doing today, and then closing the gaps in your financial plan. Again, it's not a money-focused conversation, but money is needed. Money behavior is going to change in order to achieve those goals and values.
Yeah. You and I had a really candid conversation about this about 4 or 5 years ago. When we talked about my goals and my values, and one of the top, I won't go into all 5, but one of the top ones, in addition to giving and my faith, was my family and my kids. But I had nothing in place to protect those children if something happened to me. And at that time in my life, I had a lot of stuff going on that could have gone really sideways. Is that Zuri?
Good morning. She just said good morning, Mom.
Oh, she's so sweet. Right. And so you walked me through, okay, we need to get you in touch with an attorney. We need to get these articles in place. And that was hard. Even after we talked about it, I thought, yeah, I need to do that. It took me a good year beyond that to do it because I just didn't want to face that potential demise. I didn't want to face the reality of I could wake up or I could not wake up tomorrow. And then where are my kids going to be? I just didn't want to think about that. And then that came back to a whole faith discussion. And so you're more than just this financial planner. You're really kind of like a little counselor and helping people through that process. So I love you for that. But sometimes those discussions are not easy to have. And even I struggle with my mom right now. Now you work with your mom. That's a whole different situation. And I think that's a huge blessing. My mom is 2-3 hours away. And each year I try to discuss with her, do we have a will in place yet? Do we have something in place yet? But my father just will not have the discussion. And so it just sits there and her hands are tied. And it's very frustrating to watch her go through that and think, I think that was kind of the catapult for me. I didn't want my kids to be facing that same fear that I'm facing watching my mom go through that process. Good morning. Yeah. And there's my husband. Yeah. This really is a casual coffee talk. Hello. Hello, Richard. And you were just so great at kind of helping people walk through that and giving them some ideas and starting those conversations. I think the conversations around money are so horrifically frightening for some people because they don't know what they don't know.
I'll say it's for most people. For most people, and it's not, I think, if we're honest with ourselves, most people have fear about money, which is why they don't make changes, right? So, and I've noticed this fear with people who have a lot of money and a little money. It does not matter. Money does not discriminate.
Yeah.
The money shame and the money fear doesn't discriminate. So like a common fear with someone with a lot of money, for example, might be, well, what if I retire and then I eventually run out? Or what if I have a health care that will drain of all my assets and I'm not able to leave something to the children? And that's what I had intended to do. So that could be a fear for them. But they may even not be willing to face, and they may be denial. And then there are people who like have a little, and maybe they grew up with a little and it was never taught to them, you know, how to manage the money. So they've just continued that cycle because it could be gone. It's a very common one with people who don't have it. So the behavior range, they manifest differently, but it does come back to money, fear, and shame at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think there's different cycles of that fear and shame, don't you? Like when I look at kind of a general overview for societal means, I've got people that are making, friends of mine, acquaintances that are making big bang. They're, $1 million assets. And then I have friends who are barely hanging on and they need assistance. And there is this perception on either end of that scale about what that other person is all about. And I think that's where it starts. And so when you're here, you almost feel this guilt coming up through the ranks because you don't want to be that person. And now you don't want your friends to look at you like you're that person. And then when you're here, right, you don't want to be considered the non-giving, non-loving person. All of a sudden you're greedy. And so I think there's a lot of misconception and fear. And like you said, there's just that shame. And I see it at every level. It's a hard conversation to walk through, but you do make that, when you come back to your core values, like you said, and you focus on that here and now and what's important. I just feel like those outside voices are muted a little bit.
Yeah, it's true. And I think another thing too, I get questions a lot about, well, how do I compare to other people? My income or whatever. And I'm like, it really doesn't matter. And I don't even know the statistics. They don't matter. What we do is we build your retirement picture or your college funding picture, whatever it is. Most often it's retirement. It's the biggest quantifiable goal that people have in a lifetime because you have to fund your income for the rest of your life after retiring. So they say, let's talk about what your income's going to be in retirement, and then let's talk about any other expenses that you need to plan for, and then we inflate it and taxes, and then that's going to tell you exactly what you need. So don't compare yourself to this person because their income goal may be way higher than yours, so they need more. So there's no comparison. It's all about what your life is going to look like, customizing it. People will say, oh, you need $1 million. Well, that may not be enough for a lot of people. So, but then maybe it's more than enough for some. It totally depends on your lifestyle and what you want that to look like. Again, going back to what you value in your life and building it off of that. So it's like, stop comparing and just customize it to your own plan, which is why it's so important to work with someone who can customize it for you rather than hitting a goal that is arbitrary.
Right. And they can see you for you. I feel like we're conditioned at a very young age to be this other thing, right? And then feeling that inadequacy. So for example, when I was in school, there was no discussion about you should go to college. You need to go to college. Everybody's got to go to college. That's got to be the next step. And you saw this swarm of people going into white collar professions and all of the trades kind of tapering back, right? Because there was just this focus on this is who you should be. And we tried very hard with our kids because I felt a lot of guilt and a lot of shame that I did not follow the paths that society was saying. This is where you should go. And this is how you should, and this is how you should do it when you go there. But I constantly bucking the system. And so when our kids were in school, we always said, you know what? I don't care what you want to be, as long as that's truly what you want to be, and not that you're settling, and that when you go for it with gusto. And then no matter what, we'll support you. I don't need you to be a doctor. I don't need you to be an attorney. I don't need you to be this billion-dollar philanthropist. I just need you to be well and healthy, and at the end of your days, have a place to lay your head down and go. And that, to me, sets for a healthier expectation. However, they still get bombarded with all this stuff in society, in the schools, and what you should do, and no, you should settle, and no, take the easy road, or no, this is how you gotta push. And I feel like there's just all these pressures from that day one, so that when you get to where we are today, Whit, you still get that little voice in your head going, is this not enough? Did I do something wrong? It's very frustrating. And so trying to model that for our kids, and this is, I'm going to go into the mom thing now, because it's one thing to be a business and woman, which is hard enough in and of itself these days. But to be a mom in business, that puts a whole different layer on it. And people don't really understand that until they're in that position. And then to be a single mom, you've got back support, but at the end of the day, that's just a whole different layer. And you do all of that with such grace and such poise.
Thank you.
And you just, and still find time to not only nurture your clients, nurture your business, nurture yourself, nurture your family, nurture your child, but then nurture your community. This woman is constantly out advocating for her community. I don't know if you find all the time. And then exercising. I love watching you on Instagram. And I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like such a slug today. Okay, wait, Whitney's doing it. Let's get going. Let's do something. Just like in every aspect. And that's what I'm saying. You don't just talk it, you walk it. And that's a rarity today. You are a unicorn. You're my little biblical unicorn, and I love you. So let's talk about what it's like to walk in Whitney's shoes as a single mom businesswoman who works with her mother and is raising a strong child in this day and age, a strong girl in this day and age.
So where should I? So I'll just say that one of the things that I've learned, especially over the last year or two, is boundaries are everything. And I was not good at boundaries before. Because I am a servant heart. I love to help, almost sometimes to a fault. I do, but I think it's not hard for me to say no. But if someone's in need, that's when it's hard for me to say no, if that makes sense. So I can say no to volunteer to something. But so last year, I resigned from 3 different boards all at the same time.
I remember that.
I talked about that.
That was huge.
I had this epiphany, and I was like, oh, wait, these are not serving my family, my faith, or my business. I need to stop. And it wasn't filling me up at all. And it wasn't even anything wrong with the boards. It was just the fact that it wasn't filling me up or the things that are most important to me. So I had to stop. And I couldn't think about how it would affect other people, because at the end of the day, I knew that it wasn't serving the people that are most important to me. So I had to stop. So, but that's just one example of boundaries. I live by my calendar. So everything's on it. I have everything in my business calendar. So like, another thing is I don't take appointments at night for work.
You don't do what?
And I don't do it. Take appointments at night for work. So I have really strong boundaries around work. I used to go to happy hours when I had Zuri. I don't do that anymore. So like, there are things where I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to get the clients that I'm supposed to get, that are willing to work according to my schedule. And then it builds a lot more respect too on their end. So I'm finding I control the calendar, not my clients. And so that's another thing. I wake up, we talked about this. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day so that I can get in. The reason I wake up that early is so I can pray and read and journal. And I get that for like an hour and a half, and then I'll work out depending upon the day. Zuri gets up like around 10:30, so I get 2.5 hours all to myself. So having solitude and refilling my tank is really important. I mean, I'm an extrovert, but I've learned that I really need to be alone too to gain peace and clarity, and to hear from God. And so those things those 2.5 hours in the morning changed my life. I'll also say that Zuri's dad has her about 30 to 40% of the time, depending upon the week. So that's been a huge blessing because I know that a lot of single parents don't have that good relationship with their ex. And not to say, at Tanya, you know this, I didn't have any issues with him earlier, but I just at this point was like, you know what? I'm just gonna love him even though he's unlovable, and I'm just gonna let it go. And that has allowed us now to have a friendship, and we've been able to discuss things. We were, yes, what's up, baby girl? You want to get on your tablet? You look cute today. You want to say hi? She's doing a recording.
Hey, Zuri. Hey, beautiful. Hi. Oh my gosh, you're getting so tall. You're going to be almost as tall as Mom soon.
She's going to be taller than me. She's basically how tall she is.
She's amazing.
Okay. Okay, here you go, baby girl. And then it's about to die, so charger's in the kitchen. You're welcome. So being able to love him even when he's quote unquote unlovable, because I just had this revelation, like, oh God, how much have you forgiven me of all the kinds of perfect? And I think a lot of unforgiveness and resentment comes from pride. And I was like, I need to let go of my pride and love him, not just for Zuri, but because he needs it too. Like, so many people operate in attack mode, I think, because they're hurt. And so I just received a lot of clarity, and God really walked me through a big healing season, and I'm still healing from that, because it was certainly not easy. But I'd say that him really being a great dad and loving his daughter and really building her up not only helps me in my work and being able to serve more, but also it helps her feel loved and strong. Like, she needs, every daughter, every child really, I believe, needs love from their dad. And so for her to be able to receive that from him, and for him to call her beautiful, strong, and amazing, reinforces what I'm doing. And so I feel so incredibly grateful.
Yes. And that's not an easy task. It's just not in some cases. It's just not. But yeah, again, you do it with such grace. You're a really great role model for so many people in so many positions for so many reasons. Yeah.
Thank you.
I love you, Whit. All right, it is 9:30. There is so much more. You guys need to find out about Whitney and how she runs business and how she can help you have a fulfilling life. We're going to post another copy of this up. Whitney's going to get a copy so she can share it out as well. Excuse me. But I really hope that you will consider reaching out to Whitney to get to know her more personally and see how she can really help you have a more fulfilling life, because there's no right or wrong path. There's your path, and she's so good at helping you find that path and helping you succeed in that path, whatever that goal happens to be. So I love you, Whit.
Love you too. Great combo.
All right, guys, we'll see you back here next month. I gotta go wipe my face again. All right, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.